Hey, listeners, welcome back to the Dreadful Dialogue podcast where we chat about all things horror. My name is Elise. I am your host. And today I have a returning guest. His name is Anthony. If you are a regular listener, you've heard him on previous episodes. We previously did an episode where he shared folk stories, horror stories from his native country of Guatemala. We also did a really cool deep dive of the movie Death Proof, and he's back today with some more stories from his country for us. He even told me he's gone back and forth since then, and he's got a whole theme for us. It's really cool to have you back. So welcome, Anthony. How you been?
Fine, thank you. I'm really excited to be back, especially with more folk story right here. And it isn't to be set the theme, because the theme I was picking this time revolved around animals. Folklore in my country involved the animals.
Okay. That's unique because there's not too many. I haven't heard too many folk stories that are animal related. They're usually humans.
Yeah, there's like stories that connect with that have gone about in my country that are considered fact, but they're really old wife tale. So I'm pretty sure these stories are just so-called fact. But it's all BS at the end of the day. But the fact there's like a story created behind that, that's the beauty of it.
I like how you're like, they're all BS at the end of the day. It's like, oh, I mean, I guess as like fans of like spooky stuff, right? Like we see so much behind the scenes. Like we like watch stuff and we're like, this isn't real. I mean, we chase the boogeyman, right?
Yeah, it's like an episode of fact or fake being told by the keeper of the tale, which I feel like the keeper of the tale, so it's really exciting to be the one telling the story.
Yeah, you're kind of like our own little version of the Crypt Keeper, but we can't call you the Crypt Keeper because we don't want to get in trouble for, copyright or anything. So Keeper of the Tales, I like that. And I'm interested to hear about like this whole animal concept, and I just love how you're like, oh, they're the way that they come up with the stories, because I think it's the same even without the animal ones. It's like so many stories are just made up because they're convenient and they help people grasp what's going on, or they're used as a way to like get people to have better morals or to just behave in a certain way, right? I think that's how a lot of old stories, regardless of what country they came from, most of them I think are rooted in that way in some sense, in controlling people's
like manners, behavior, fears.
Yeah, there you go. Manners, behaviors, fears, explaining the universe, understanding what's out there. I think that's what a lot of it is. So tell us about our first story you have for us today. I'm ready to be scared.
Okay. We connect with a rumor in Guatemala that people would say if you heard an animal speak, it meant you were seconds away from dying. And that tripped me out. And quite a few people in certain regions of the little Puebla I grew up in believed this. Okay. And then somebody even said, oh no, see, there's a story about this one farmer, and he was coming back from working all day in the fields, and he was traveling back the little path back to his ranch, back to his house, I guess. He was working the field and was going back to his house. So he's on his horse and his dog is next to him. And this guy just had a long day. So he gets off the horse and he sits down and wipes the sweat from his head. And he says, man, I'm tired. And the horse says, yeah, me too. And this guy freaks out and he gets up and he books it on foot, his dog following right behind him. And he books it as far as he can, and he runs all the way back to his house and locks the door, and he said, boy, that scared the hell out of me. And his dog said, yeah, me too.
Oh.
And he dies then and there.
He dies of shock because he heard two animals.
So there wasn't just one animal, but two animals.
I knew that was going to happen when you were like, oh, and then he has his dog. As soon as you're like, he looked to his dog and he said it, I'm all, oh no, the dog's going to say the same thing as the horse. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not going to look at my cats the same or any other, my friends' pets. Cause we all talk to our pets, right? I mean, we baby them or we tell them to do different, like earlier, one of my cats was in the room and I didn't know. I was like, Luna, do you want to stay in here? Do you want out? And of course she can't answer me, but now I'm going to be like, great, she's going to answer me. I'm going to be in trouble.
Like I often think, what if I caught my pet and one of that no one's ever going to believe you. And they leave it at that.
Yeah, but if they were from Guatemala, they might believe me. I have Guatemalan family members, so my husband is. So yeah,
they would be like, "Oh no, you're gonna die too."
You muerto. Dead.
They're like, oh crap, boom.
Yeah, that was a cool short one. So what's another one you have?
Okay, there's another one that this was actually more of like a sad tale showing how the connection between an animal and their owner.
Okay.
My father told me this one that my father grew up on the ranch practically
Okay.
before he moved to the city. So he told me that this person knew a person who knew a person that told them that this happened to them. So the guy, he lives alone with his dog, and he's had this dog for 14 years now. So the dog was sometimes he would open the door and let the dog go up and walk about at night, and the dog knew when to come back in. And every time the dog came in, it came and it lay right next to his bedside. So he woke up the next morning, he would always see the dog there. And he would know the dog went out at night because his paws would either be wet or muddy or dirty. But he didn't mind. He knew the dog's routine. The dog needed to use the bathroom. It went out. So one day he wakes up and his dog is not there next to him. And he just wonders where his dog is. And this is not normal behavior for his dog. And he even goes out, he calls the dog. He goes out to work. He doesn't see his dog anywhere. He thinks maybe my dog will be back when I come back home.
Mhm.
He comes back and the dog is not there, and he's sad and he's even crying. This is his child practically. And that night he has a dream that his dog's waking him up, and his dog is tugging at his shirt. And he wakes up and he follows the dog. And the dog guides him through a different path of where he lives. And he's following the dog at night throughout all this path, and he sees a river. And then he sees the dog barking at something, and the dog's just barking and barking, like toward the corner of the river. And he wakes up. And it's nighttime, but something about that dream, he wakes up and he sees the paw prints in his house, as if the dog had returned. But the thing is that the paw prints weren't of the dog coming in, the paw prints were of the dog heading out.
Uh-oh.
So he follows the paw print, and then he opens the door, and the paw prints are gone by that point. But he remembers in his dream that he went out the house, he took a different direction. So he followed the direction, and he sees a path very similar to what was in his dream. And he finds the river. And he goes near the river, and he sees that at the corner of the river, his dog's dead body is right there.
Oh no.
So it's almost as if the dog came back in spirit in his dream and said, wait, I know where you could find me. I'm going to be right here. So it was almost the dog's final goodbye to him.
Oh,
No, that one was really sad. Well, I still think of it, and I'm even thinking, what if for some reason my dogs pass away outside the house, I do want them to come back and tell me where they're at. I just
yeah.
get worried if I'm picking them up.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have any pets now that go outside, but like we have animals outside that like we have like these cats that they're not our cats, they're like the neighborhood cats that everybody feeds. And they've been fixed, right? So they can't reproduce. There's this whole like I could go into my little like animal activist role here and talk about trap and release and how it like keeps the cat population down. But they cut off like a tip of their ear so you can tell that that animal control doesn't need to pick them up. They're just going to live out their life. And sometimes that happens. They just like disappear. And it makes me really sad, but I don't pet them or anything. They're not like my animals that are inside, but like, I do wonder, like, and like when that happens, I always like, maybe they found like a really nice house to live in, or maybe somebody like one time somebody moved away and I was like, maybe they just took that kitty with them because she seemed really sweet or whatever. But it's kind of sad, but it's also uplifting because you're right. You would want your pet. You would want to know like what happened to your pet, especially his dog seems so loyal.
Yeah, and at that time I didn't realize the importance of the footprints in the story.
Okay, what are they?
You know, at first the footprints were coming in.
Yeah.
So then when they say the footprints were going on, I'm like, oh crap, the dog's spirit was there.
Yeah.
And it walked out, almost as if giving him the little cookie crumb trail.
Mm-hmm.
And he like, right this way, and everything's just gonna click in after that.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it. I didn't think about that till you pointed that out. Wow. And at first I thought I was like, oh, I was ready for this story to be silly because you're like, oh, I heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody. I'm like, oh, so like from the gossiper in the neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be silly, but it's interesting. So both have been about animals. I'm also thinking back to your first story. I can go back to that when we talked about the animals talking, and I'm remembering that you cosplay and you have masks of animals. Like, I hope none of your masks talk to you.
Oh, I'd be freaked out if they thought I'm burning them.
Yeah, because you have a raccoon and a possum, right? Your cosplay mask.
Yeah, I have a possum, a raccoon, and a rat. And I used to
Yeah.
have other masks dangling on the wall, but somebody in our home country told us that it's not good to have masks out in the open because sometimes they every tradition is different. Some masks represent like a type of warriorness. Others believe that depending on the mask, some masks might either attract a good entity or a bad entity.
Okay.
So it was always the whole be careful what kind of mask you put up there because it could either attract something good or something bad. You never know.
I've
So
never heard that. Okay, so see, we got a little bit more in-depth belief systems, good beliefs that are from your country. Okay. See, well, I don't know. It's a good thing I don't got no masks on my wall.
I don't know. I always put mine in the bag just in case.
Yeah, you don't want nothing creepy to happen. Who told you the first story? Because
That first story was actually told to me by my dad.
so both of them were the last two both been told by your dad. Okay,
Yeah, well, the last one was somebody told him, so he
that's
told
right.
me. So,
But he
so yeah,
told, but technically your dad, yeah, okay. Your dad didn't have to be the originator. Clearly, he's probably not the originator of these stories, but he's the one that's told them to you. Got you. All right. So, what's another story you have for us?
okay, so this other story comes from the rumor that a lot of people believed in my country when I was growing up, that they would say, if you want to know what a dog sees, you grab a dog, you wipe out the side booger, and you wipe it on your own eye, and you'll be able to see everything a dog sees. And everybody believed that when I was growing up. They're like, oh yeah, just grab a dog, wipe out the eye booger, we'll wipe it on your eye. And I'd always just be thinking, have you tried it? And of course they'd be like, no. And if you actually try it, the only thing you're going to see is an infection the next day. That's
Yeah.
literally all you're going to see.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't want to do it either. I'm like, I'm gonna pass. I don't even know if it's true because I'm not trying to put boogers on my face.
I'm going to pass, but it's the funny thing that my grandaunt actually told me a story that backs that rumor up.
Okay.
And the story goes that right there, like where I live at, there used to be a restaurant there. And he would always be mad because he would hear the dogs barking at night. And he'd always open the window, yell at them, throw stuff at them, shoo them away. But they'd always come back and they would always be barking. And he would always notice that they're looking at something and they're barking. So one day he goes up to his brother's place and he's complaining about the lack of sleep he's getting and how it's always because the dogs are always barking as if they see something. And the brothers say, well, animals do see things that humans can't see. And he say, I wish I knew what they would see so I could scare that away. So the brother tells, well, there is a way. You grab one of the street dogs, you wipe out the tie booger, and you wipe it on your own eye. And the brother then had, but remember, there are things that humans are just not meant to see. But he's had enough sleepless night. He said, I'm going to do this. Today when I go home, I'm going to find a dog, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to see what I see at night. So he goes back home, and the first street dog he sees, he grabs it, he wipes out the side booger, and he wipes down his own eye. And he goes to his room that night, and he just waits until the barking starts. So again, like clockwork, the barking starts at the same hour at night. And he says, finally, I'm going to see what these dogs see. And then the brother doesn't hear back from him the next day. So the brother goes looking for him, and he goes to his house, and he notices that everything is strangely empty. And he walks up to his room, his brother's room, and he sees his brother there on the floor, dead, with
I knew it.
scared expression on his face. And that's where the story ends. It kind of just leads us to think whatever he saw really was not meant for human eyes.
Whoa. That makes me think of, because there's like people who, even you can look it up on like the YouTube, right? There's like people who are like, what is my cat looking at, or what is my dog looking at? And like the animal's just like staring off into space. And then they're like growl at something and it's like, there's nothing there. Ugh. Yeah, I don't want to see what they see because
Yeah, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure we just can't comprehend it.
yeah, I mean, you always wonder. I always feel like sometimes the animals too are smarter in some sense, in smarter in sense that they can read people kind of. I always wonder, can they tell like a good person from a bad person? I don't know. It's interesting though, because they have obviously heightened sense of smell and hearing. Like that's why a lot of people, we have dogs, right? So they can warn us if somebody's walking up
Yeah,
to the house. Even if they're a harmless dog, usually they'll bark or they'll growl or they'll even just give you a look like somebody's here. Even though I have cats, even my cats get up and they're like, somebody's here. Like they don't really growl while one does because she's a little grumpy cat, but they're kind of like, hey, we have somebody at the house. Obviously, they're not gonna be able to eat, but yeah, it makes you
yeah.
wonder why do they stare off like that? There's like I said, there's literally whole like YouTube videos of people with that, and that's what it reminded me of.
And it's funny, I do have a personal story where I'm pretty sure my dog has seen something.
Oh,
Because,
really?
because, so I know for a fact people in our family they don't like that. There's people within our own family that, this whole sibling rivalry type of thing.
Yeah, every family has cousins, siblings, whatever. No family's perfect. We all have different family members where just for whatever reason we don't get along without going into it.
Yeah, and for some reason this grew into some kind of hatred to the point where we're sure they were doing some sort of like witchcraft or black magic against us, only because we had found like certain relic in our
Okay.
home in Guatemala that prove that somebody does actually was trying to harm us. We found cemetery dirt. We found bags of salt, which represents that they want to see you in poverty.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a burnt candle on the roof. So it's real strange. And I know it was affecting us because we were going through this super like bad financial time. My father had broken his leg. We were struggling financially. The roof of our house was caving in. It was just our business couldn't pick up. It was just problem after problem after problem.
yeah.
And I remember my dog, my Belgian Malinois, when she gets in the house, she never misses the opportunity to jump on my bed in my room.
Mm-hmm.
And true, I have two other dogs, but my Belgian Mal is the one that protects me the most. And any chance she gets to jump in my room, she will. She'll go on my bed. All my dogs will, for that matter. They'll never miss that opportunity. But one day, I let them in, and as I'm doing my work, I hear this barking, nonstop barking, and I'm just thinking, what the hell's going on? Like I couldn't understand they're barking outside, but they're barking in here. And I go and I see my Belgian Shepherd. She's staring into my room and she's barking. And it's like kind of like aggressive bark. And I step in my room and I look around and I see nothing, and I'm calling my dog Osa, my dog's name is Osa. And I'm just thinking, hey, what's the matter with you? And she's just barking and growling, and she refused to even go inside my room, which is what I found strange.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was already a sign something's not right here. And I called my mom. I told her what happened. I told my dad. They both tell me dogs do sense something. And from all three dogs, that dog is the one that has protected me the most. And they had we called them cleansers, let's say.
Okay.
And
One of them here's. I heard one of them bark. I know we're talking about him.
She knows talking about her.
Yeah, they sense
So
it.
she brings, I'm at work while this is happening, but she brings candles and she lights them up. She lights one candle in the living room, one in my sister's room, one in my parents' room, and one in my room. And they're meant to clean out any bad vibes about auras. And my mom tells me, from all the candle, the one in your room took the longest to burn out. And I'm just thinking, well, that's really scary to think about, the fact that there was still probably all the bad energy in my room or something. I'll be throwing that in my way that it took that long for the candle to burn out.
Wow.
And that my dog sensed it.
Yeah, especially like you said, she's the dog that's the most loyal to you. They always say like animals have like a primary person, like that's their main person. That doesn't mean they don't care about other people, but like you're their primary person. They're the most loyal to you, and that it was that dog. Crazy.
So it was scary to think about.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty deep story with a lot of family and personal trauma. Thank you for sharing that. I know that sometimes it's hard to share things with others that, are so personal. So I had a couple things you had me wondering about because you said that black magic. So is that, I know like in parts of the Caribbean, different parts of even our country, there's different people that believe in and practice that. I didn't know that that was something that was part of some of Guatemala culture, that there's people who practice that and believe it.
Yeah, there's the whole like spectrum of it. There are like huesero people. Not all of this is bad.
Yeah.
Or just belief. Like all things we don't understand, there's good and there's bad, depending.
Yeah.
So there's hueseros, people that work with bones. People that work with plants. Santeros, people that have different sayings. So there are different practices and beliefs out there, and like everything is either good or bad, depending how you use it. But like I say, at the end of the day, everything comes at a price. Whether you use it for good or bad, mainly if you use it for bad, it comes at a price.
Yeah, the whole black and white of it all. People always say you're using black magic in a bad way, or you're using white magic in a good way, or you have to think about what you're putting out there. It can come back for you. That's interesting. I didn't know that about Guatemala. I know like the little bit I know, and it's like probably the most mainstream thing are like the worry dolls. And I got mad because I saw an advertisement like Amazon selling worry dolls, and I'm like, they're probably made in China. I'm like, why are they selling worry dolls from China? Probably. I'm like, oh, that's not good. When like they're taking it and mass marketing it.
Yeah, that's definitely not fair.
Have you heard of worry dolls before?
I've heard of damn it dolls, but I've never heard of worry dolls.
Yeah, I think there's, from what I understand, from my mother-in-law's told me a little bit, my husband's told me a little bit, and even surprisingly, when I was in New Orleans, I went to like a voodoo shop, right? And they even had those there, and you're supposed to put them like they're these little dolls that are like handmade, and you just put them under your pillow, and they're supposed to help like take away your worries.
Yeah, they take your worry away.
Yeah. I don't know I'm sure there's a term in Spanish, and I don't know the proper name for them, but I've always just heard them called worry dolls. And I just found it funny that even at the shop, the guy had he had stuff for voodoo and hoodoo, but then he was like, "Oh, I have some other stuff from other countries," and I was like, "Oh wow, all the way out here. Okay, I didn't know that there was." I don't know. I hadn't seen him before, so it was interesting. Other than like if you go to like places where, like if you go into like downtown LA and stuff and you go into the little shops, like it wasn't like a cultural region that you would expect to find like Guatemalan stuff. So it was cool that the guy had that in his store. And I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I try to purvey things from other cultures as well. And he's like, I try to do my research before I have them here. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know a lot about that. So it was fascinating to find out that there is some of those beliefs in black magic. Because again, I think a lot of countries have various versions of beliefs, and like you said, it's how you use it. So you have any other stories for us today?
Yeah, there's another one. It comes back again to the talking animal.
Okay.
And this one has been retold not just in Guatemala, but in other parts of Central America.
Mm-hmm.
But this one mainly states why you should never ask your pet if they could talk. So, and this story, I think it wasn't even a family member that told it to me. It was one of the ladies from a shop that sells stuff, like little local shops. She told us this story.
Okay.
So, because I remember I was out there, and there were other kids too, and they were even like saying, "Hey, could that cat talk? Can you talk?" And she could say, "You should never ask an animal that." And we're like, "Why?" And hence starts the story. So the way the story goes is that there was once an old widow, and she lived all alone with her cat. She literally had no one to talk to at night, so she was often by the fireplace. Her routine would always be she would eat, feed her cat, and go to bed, and the next day she'd start her day all over again. So one morning, as she's having her coffee, she looks at her cat, and she asks us, I wonder if you could talk. And if you could talk, what would you say to me?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the cat was just a little different throughout the day, just staring at her, not doing its normal cat thing, almost as if the cat was lost in thought. And in the evening, she asked the cat again, "You're looking at me strange. Can you talk or understand what I'm saying?" So nightfall, and she's in bed. She's lost in sleep when she hears a knock at the door. And she's scared because the knock is inside, like, her house, outside her room.
Oh, so it's not like the front door. It's like an interior door. Okay.
It's like an interior door. Scared, she goes and she opens it, and she sees her cats. Except at the same time, it's not her.
Oh,
It's her cat, but it's grown to her height,
oh, wow.
standing on 2 feet, staring at her straight in the eyes. And the cats say, "To answer your question earlier, yes, I can talk, and yes, I can understand you." And she slams the door and locks it. And throughout the whole night, she hears the cat laughing, singing, mainly giving off this maniacal laugh and taunting her. Often saying, "What, didn't you want someone to talk to? Didn't you have questions to ask me?" Clawing at her door, just this creepy, almost as if it wasn't even her head, like just a demon on the other side.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, this cat get possessed?
So, and the next day, of course, they find the old lady dead in her room from fright. And the only other creature there is her cat, just looking up at her, back in its cat form, looking up at the dead body. And that's where the story ends. Hence why they say you should never ask an animal if it could talk, because if one of these things is going to answer.
Oh man. I don't ever ask my animals if they could talk, but I always say, "What? I wonder what they're think." I always wonder what they're thinking because I don't know. I think like they probably like wonder like what our behaviors are up like. I assume they wonder like why we do certain behaviors that we do. And especially because I have a 4-year-old, right? I have this little toddler, and he's crazy. And one of my cats, like my cats, will just stare at him, and their eyes just get big, and they're just like they want nothing to do with him most of the time. They're like, "No, he's nuts. I'm gonna just stay over here in my little corner away from him." And then he does something silly, and they just look at him, and they just walk out of the room like, "And I'm out of here." Like it's like funny
Goodbye.
because they're much older than him. Like we've had them far longer than we've had the baby. So I always think like, man, what do the girls think? Because they're all girls, my cats. I'm like, I wonder what they think. They're probably like, our baby's crazy. What are these people doing? Like, or when we've gone on vacation and we'll leave them for a couple days. Like, I always joke that we come home. They're like, where have you been? Like, what's going on here? I didn't get wet food. Like, I had to eat this kibble stuff. Like, I have a whole like conversation to myself about like what they must think. But I've never asked them to talk to me. So now I definitely know not to ask them to talk to me. Because yeah.
That it's all bad.
Yeah. So okay, I guess I'm okay with hopefully there's no stories about wondering what they think.
No, I don't think there is any stories about that.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. It made me it's weird. I always wonder like where these stories come from. I'm like, why were people like tell like what's the big deal with thinking about your animals talking and what your animals see? And I guess because we do ponder that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I even think about or like sayings. Like I don't know if it's a Mexican thing or like a Latin American thing. Like when you get hurt, right? Somebody will grab you and like they'll be like, "Oh, sana,
Oh, yeah.
bolita de rana," and I'm like, once I got older, ma, a frog's butt. What are they saying? And I'm like, I've always wondered, I'm like, I need to look up like why do they say that? I don't. And I've asked other people who are the older generation. I'm like, why do you say that? Oh, well, because my grandma said it to you. My abuela said it to me, so I say it to you. And I'm like, okay.
I'm like, it's always when you get hurt and they come and they like quickly do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if it's just like psychological. You believe you'll heal because of this little chant, therefore you heal, or
Yeah.
just it's supposed to make you laugh out of how stupid it sounds or how
Maybe.
silly it sounds. I want to know who created this phrase and fueled a whole fire
Exactly, because clearly it's popular. If you heard it growing up too, right? So it's clearly popular saying that are used on kids when they get hurt. And yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? It's just a way to, yeah, if I say this little chant, you're going to be fine. I guess it's kind of like how little kids are like, kiss my boo boo or my coco or whatever. I'm hurt. Or sometimes you'll get a kid like, I mean, my kid's not there yet, but like I remember being that way when I was little, like, Mom, I'm hurt. I need a band-aid. And like you didn't even like break your skin, right? You don't have a scab or none. And your
You just
parents would
want
just
it.
give you a band-aid because in your head you're like, oh, okay, I'm better now. I got a band-aid. Like I'm gonna be
You're
all right.
I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna bleed out or nothing.
Yeah. So maybe that's right. Yeah. But you're right. It's definitely silly. I don't know. It took me a while to figure that out when I was younger. Then I was like, wait a minute, a frog's butt? Like I was
Not a really don't have tail. They have butt, but why? Why am I seeing a lot of box butt?
Yeah. But then I guess even in the like even in English, we have like in here in America, we have these silly, I guess, idioms, I guess they're called, or it's like the cat got your tail, or
That's
cat got your tongue. Sorry, cat got your tongue. And then my dad's silly, like he takes them further, like he has his own little ones. Like, he'll tell kids stuff to be silly. He's like, go play on the freeway or go catch a fart and paint it green. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. It's just fun to tell kids to do it because they're like, what do you mean catch a fart and paint it green? It's like, that's my own little idiom. I just come up with my own stuff. So I guess in every culture, there's weird sayings. Well, do you have anything else for us today, or?
Yeah, so there is a different moral, since we're talking about idioms and old sayings and stuff. There is this one saying in Guatemala. My father told me this. He says that it's always good to drink water before bed.
Okay.
So, because his grandma always told him this, and apparently the saying would be, you always drink water before bed. Because if you go to bed and you don't drink water, your body gets thirsty and your soul wakes up and it goes searching for water. And if the cat finds the soul, it kills and eats it, and you wake up dead. And I'm just thinking, well, what kind of thing is to kill a child? But it's an old saying, why you should always just drink water before bed.
And that's so funny because, like, as a parent, I'm always like, don't drink too much water because you're like, just don't learning to go to the bathroom and they don't want to wake up like as an adult, like we easily, but I'm like, I even remember like when you're going on a trip, right? Your parents are like, go to the bathroom right before you leave and don't drink too much water because they don't want to have to stop to make you go to the bathroom. But you said a cat would eat, that was a cat you said that would eat your soul?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a cat or a crow, but I think it was a cat. There were a lot of stray cats where they were going about, so they'll say, yeah, then the cat will eat your soul. If the cat finds it, it eats it, and the soul never returns to your body, so you die.
Well, I'm going to make sure I drink water tonight because I got 3 cats. Keep water by my bed. I'm safe. It's a very cat-heavy episode, a cat and dog-heavy episode here. Mainly cats. It's like... Well, Anthony, it was really cool. You got I really like how you went with a theme this time. You gave us a lot of stories related to different animals. I'm going to be looking at my pets and my friends' pets, my family pets a little differently now. I'm going to be a little bit more weary, and I'm not going to question what they say. I'm not even going to question what they think anymore. I'm not going to question what they're looking at. I'm just going to appreciate them for the loyalty that they give us.
Not too many questions we don't want answered.
Yeah, exactly. So Anthony, I know you do cosplay and you go to different events and you have some cool reels right lately that I've been seeing. Where can people find you on social media?
They could find me at Anteros 2020.
ANTEROS 2025. Yep. No underscores or nothing, right?
No faces underscores all together.
Yeah. Go check his out. Him and if you guys have heard our episodes with Nelson, you guys are both friends. I like some of those cool reels you guys have been putting out there.
We team up and collab every now and then.
Yeah. They've been entertaining. I've seen you guys, like the Addams Family one you guys did. That was funny. So yeah, check it out. He's got some good stuff, and I'm sure Anthony's going to be back. We'll be chatting more. We'll hopefully get you back to talk about your time as a scare actor. And I'm sure we'll come up with some movies. Hopefully we could see you at some events, but thank you again for coming. I appreciate having you here.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be here. Like, it feels good to tell some of my stories. And I'm really honored that I get to tell them on your podcast.
Yeah, no, I feel honored for us and our listeners. I really try to, I couldn't share these stories. These are not my stories. I could tell little American stories from like where I'm from or from my little neighborhood. We have houses that we think are haunted, and I strive for authenticity, and I thank you for sharing your culture and sharing those with us. And with that said, we hope our conversation wasn't too dreadful for you guys. I'm also on social media at Dreadful Dialogue Podcast on Instagram, and my website is dreadfuldialogue.com. And with that, thanks everybody, and have a good one.
Thank you. Good night.